Okay, but seriously, I have been debating what you call a book that simultaneously appears to be one of the greatest masterpieces you have ever read, but at the same time makes you hate the book industry so much and make you not want to pick another book. Because I have to call it genius, but one could also call him trash. Controversy. Hello, beautiful bookworms. My name is Katrina, and welcome to my channel. And today I am going to be doing a manga review for a very, or at least apparently in Goodreads and in some other reviews that I've been seeing, polarizing manga. And that manga is Downfall by Inio Asano. So I have been very excited to actually read this manga, which, let me just tell you, it was an experience that I've never had before. But as some of you might know, if you've watched some of my earlier actually videos, I have read Solanin by Inio Asano, and even though I have not read any other of his manga works, I absolutely loved his style, his art, his way of talking about small pieces of life and how the raw crudeness of how reality really is and how you can be influenced by it and how people think and how they relate. I absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed how it was, and so it was no surprise to me that when Downfall came out, I really wanted to actually pick it up and read it. I knew absolutely nothing about this other than the fact that this was a story about a manga artist that was having a downfall and that things were not working out the way that he really wanted to. He had sold his last greatest hit manga series, and now he was desperate for a new idea. And this is what I knew, and I thought, well, this is going to be nice. It's going to be a story about the manga industry, which we probably, if you read any sort of manga or if you're interested in Japanese culture, you would know that the manga industry is not one of the best types of industry, but really we could call this a social criticism. But what kind of enterprise or industry is now relatable and good to their workers and doesn't just care about making money? Because if you know one of those, I genuinely want to know it. But yeah, so I thought it was going to be a little bit harsh to read, but it was still going to be awesome because of all of the art, which is amazing. And I have to show it to you. I mean, his double pages, his landscapes, the way that he fixates on people's eyes, and the relationships. I mean, I love it. And I thought, well, it's going to be a nice, hard ride, but I'm going to like it. I mean, Solanin made me cry, so I was expecting something like that. Boy, was I so wrong. So, first of all, I do have to say that the premise of this manga, this is a standalone manga, by the way, which also amazing because aren't we tired of 63 volume series? Yes, we are, and we have no money to buy them. But yes, the premise is, as I said, about this mangaka, and he has just launched his greatest hit series. It has just ended, and he has no idea for what a new series is going to start. His publisher appears to be giving up on him. His marriage is sort of tense and stranded, and it seems to be almost breaking up or something. And he doesn't have a lot of he's not good with himself as well, so everything is kind of falling down, hence the title Downfall. But this manga is so much more than that. I have a Goodreads review for this, which I'm going to try to leave linked down below in case starts and ends as a incoherent garbage, because it's very difficult for me to give an opinion about this book. As I said in that review, I was very confused about giving it 1 star or 5 star, but because I do believe that this is a genius work of art and of social and personal criticism, I decided that I was going to give it 5 stars because for me there was no in between. However, I have seen many 1 stars, many 2 stars, many 3 stars, which I don't know how these people could actually find in themselves to give this a 3 stars, not because this is the perfect work of art, although I think it's a genius move in part of Inio Asano, but that's another history completely. But how can you be in the middle with this? I think that people love it or hate it, and for me, it was a little bit of both, but I just thought it was great. So when I start reading this book, this sort of starts with our main character, which is heavily based in Asano's life and in himself as a character. So it is a self-insert character, and Asano himself says that the main character is basically him, but it has some fictional points to it, of course. And the main character is talking about why he doesn't trust or like cat-eyed women. And so I started reading this, and it felt like sort of a magical realism sort of thing, and I thought, well, this is very similar to Haruki Murakami novels, which, if you don't know, he's my favorite author. He's a Japanese novel author, and I was enjoying it, and I was saying, okay, so this is going to be kind of weird, kind of magical realism-y, kind of fun. And then that point drops completely, and it's only picked up at the end of the manga to give you a punch in the face and to tell you, yeah, I haven't forgotten about this. Fuck you. And I was like, but why? So this for me is a psychological horror book. And I know a lot of people are going to say, no, you're a sick person, this is contemporary, there is no gore, there is no horror, there's nothing. But for me, everything that has to do with violently depicting the rawness of mental health is psychological horror, because as someone that suffers from anxiety disorder, mental health issues are horrifying, and if you have to live through them and see a character presenting them so vividly, you will be uncomfortable, you will be horrified. And this book has a lot of trigger warnings, a lot. Depiction of mental health, depiction of self-harm, depiction of, well, you could say use of women for prostitution, depiction of rape, which bothered me a lot. Actually, that one bothered me a lot because it was so, I don't know, it just bothered me, okay? So it doesn't, well, self-deprecating thoughts and hating what you do, which is the fulcral point of this manga. This manga is about the author of a manga, but as a person versus as the author of something that you know, which the main character of this, and probably reflecting some of Asano's beliefs on the subject, actually says that he is tired of manga, he hates manga, and he just does it because it's his artwork, but because he has to be absolutely perfect at it, and he has to be in the top table of buying and selling, and everyone has to know him. So he's like, his ego is bigger than himself. He's just one of the terrible, meanest person that you're going to know throughout your entire life. Like this main character, I don't like this main character. I started this feeling sad for the main character, and then I finished this saying, I absolutely hate you, but you're a self-insert character, and I don't hate the author, but do I? And at the same time that it made me understand a bit more of how mangakas might think and how the company and the industry of manga works, it also at the same time made me not want to buy manga, because I was like, how can I support this? How can I support you doing something that people think you're passionate about, but you're really not, and you just want to earn your money? But then at the same time I think, well, isn't that working? Like, everyone needs to earn their things. So if they're good at something, at least they're going to use that to earn money. And that's okay, because we all need to survive. But at the same time, how are you deterring art so much that you hate drawing and you hate writing, but you still do it anyway? And this is just an exercise of self-deprecation, and it's amazing. But at the same time, it gave me stomach aches, it made me feel sick. I actually wanted to throw up in the middle of this book. I was reading this and I said, no, I can't. I hate this. I hate the views portrayed in here. This is a person that has a bigger ego and a gigantic narcissist complex, but at the same time is a very self-deprecating person that doesn't function as he should. I don't know. I hate this main character, but I really like this work. And I think that that's one of the things that makes Asano different from a lot of mangakas, is that he is not really afraid of being hated at by his works. He had sort of a press conference where he said that some of his readers were not mature enough to understand the points that he wanted to make. I wholeheartedly agree. This is not a manga for children at all. And I mean, if you consider yourself mature enough to actually read it. But I don't think that some adults that will actually pick this up could deal with all of the situations that are here implicit. I think that this is a very difficult work. I think it might have been even more difficult for the author to actually to create it and to put it out, and knowing that this had to be reviewed by the people that work in this industry. I don't know if people actually understood what Asano wanted to say. I don't know if he himself understood what he wanted to say. If he likes working manga, if he doesn't, I don't know. And that's what makes me sick about this. I don't know. I am going to be brave enough to say, I understand this work, the view that I have of this work, but I don't understand if this is the view of the author, which is the point all along of this manga, which is the author as a person is different as the author that you see through his works. And sometimes we can be the monster, or he himself can be the monster. And wow. And I think this is actually very, very, how can I say this? Very modern time thing with all of the situations that are going on with certain authors that we all know. Not saying names here, but the situation where he is depicting that separating the art from the artist sometimes is very easy for the fans and sometimes is not. But at the same time, this person is doing it for different reasons than the reasons you are reading it. And that struck me, because I am someone that would love to be a writer in the future. I have always aspired to write, even though I put that as a second base for me, so I'm not doing it actually. But I've always felt like, it's something that I want to do. I want to bring stories, I want to bring magic, I want to bring passion. And then I am suddenly hit with the fact that sometimes you write not because you want to bring something to life, but because you want to earn your money and it's your job. So let's just gonna write this book and fuck it, let's just sell it. And it devastated me. It was really, really sad. And I will tell you again to go see my Goodreads review, because I'm being very incoherent since this makes me sad to talk about, but it's also a great manga. And I feel like if you don't have trigger warnings or problems with triggers, as I should have said, and if you can handle something that is extremely mature in terms of mental illness, in terms of context, and in terms of social discussion, then you should pick this up, because Inio Asano is a master, as always. His art is amazing, and the way that the raw reality of the situation, like nothing incredibly shameful and over the top happens, except for the situation of that rape that really, really bothered me. But apart from that, nothing happens, and you can see a human being drowning. And it's an experience that I did not enjoy, because I am trying to make people feel better, not feel like shit. And this book made me feel like shit and made the main character feel like shit. Everything was shit. It was just, that's how I depict this. Everything was wrong. People were drowning. You were in sea, dark, dark blue sea, and you couldn't see any way out. And it was terrifying. And I loved it. So that's going to be it for my review of Downfall. If you've read this manga, please tell me in the comments down below if you agree with me or if you have a different view. And if you've not read it, tell me if you're going to pick it up or not, or if you've read any of Asano's works, because I really want to continue reading his works. I think they're very valid, they are very professional, and they are very, very amazing. So that's going to be all for today, and happy readings to you all. Bye!